Mantras of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. To grow in the Spirit is the greatest help one can give to others, for then something flows out naturally to those around that helps them. With always our love and blessings, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 6, The Book of Fate, Canto 1, The Word of Fate, page 433. None is for any on this transient globe. He whom thou lovest now, a stranger, came, and into a far strangeness shall depart. His moments part once done upon life's stage, which for a time was given him from within. To other scenes he moves and other players, and laughs and weeps mid faces new, unknown. The body thou hast loved is cast away amidst the brute unchanging stuff of worlds to indifferent mighty nature, and becomes crude matter for the joy of others' lives. But for our souls upon the wheel of God, forever turning, they arrive and go, married and sundered in the magic ground of the great dancer of the boundless dance. Our emotions are but high and dying notes of his wild music, changed compellingly by the passionate moments of a seeking heart in the inconstant hour with hour, to call down heaven's distant answering song, to cry to an unceased bliss is all we dare. Once seized, we lose the heavenly music's sense. Too near, the rhythmic cry has fled or failed. All sweetnesses are baffling symbols here. Love dies before the lover in our breasts. Our joys are perfumes in a brittle vase. Oh, then, what wreck is this upon time's sea to spread life's sails to the hurricane desire, and call for pilot the unseeing heart? O child, wilt thou proclaim, wilt thou then follow against the law that is the eternal will, the autocracy of the rash Titan's mood, to whom his own fierce will is the one law, in a world where truth is not, nor light, nor God? Only the gods can speak what now thou speakest. Thou who art human, think not like a god. Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo and our Divine Mother, taken from the compilations of the works of our Divine Mother and our Lord Sri Aurobindo, book Looking from Within, section 5, Attitudes on the Path. Attitudes on the Path is the topic. First attitude, quiet, aspiration, and peace. Our Divine Mother says to live within is a constant aspiration for the divine, enables us to look at life with a smile and to remain peaceful, whatever the outer circumstances may be. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, always seek to progress in quietude, happiness, and confidence. That is the most helpful attitude. Do not listen to contrary suggestions from outside. A simple, straight, and sincere call and aspiration from the heart is the one important thing and more essential and effective than capacities. Also, to get the consciousness to turn inwards and not remain outward going is of great importance. To arrive at the inner call, the inner experience, the inner presence. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, aspiration should not be a form of desire, but the feeling of an inner soul's need and a quiet, settled will to turn towards the divine and seek the divine. It is certainly not easy to get rid of this mixture of desire entirely, not easy for anyone, but when one has the will to do it, this also can be effected by the help of the sustaining force. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the impatience and restless disquietude comes from the vital which brings that even into the aspiration. The aspiration, says our Lord, must be intense, calm, and strong. That is the nature of the true vital also, and not restlessness and impatient. Then alone it can be stable. There can be intense but quiet aspiration which does not disturb the harmony of the inner being. To remain quiet within, to remain quiet within, firm in the will to go through, refusing to be disturbed or discouraged by difficulties or fluctuations. That is one of the first things to be learned in the path. To do otherwise is to encourage the instability of consciousness. A spiritual atmosphere is more important than outer conditions. If one can get that and also create one's own spiritual air to breathe in and live in it, that is the true condition of progress. Second attitude, sincerity. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, sincere is simply an adjective, meaning that the will must be a true will. If you simply think I aspire and do things inconsistent with the aspiration, or follow your desires or open yourself to contrary influences, then it is not a sincere will. Lord Sri Aurobindo says, it is true that a central sincerity is not enough except as a beginning and a base. The sincerity must spread through the whole nature, but still, unless there's a double nature without a central harmonizing consciousness, the basis is usually sufficient for that to happen. You speak of insincerity in your nature. If insincerity means the unwillingness of some part of the being to live according to the highest light, one has or to equate the outer with the inner man, then this part is always insincere in all. The only way is to lay stress on the inner being and develop in it the psychic and spiritual consciousness till that comes down in it, which pushes out the darkness from the outer man also. Sri Aurobindo says, to be absolutely sincere, straightforward, Open is not an easy achievement for human nature. It is only by spiritual endeavor that one can realize it, and to do it needs a severity of introspective self vision, an unsparing scrutiny of self observation, of which many sadhaks and yogis even are not capable, and it is only an illumining grace that reveals the sadhak to himself and transforms what is deficient in him that it can be done. And then only if he himself consents and lends himself wholly to the divine working. Fundamentally, whatever be the path one follows, whether the path of surrender, consecration, knowledge, if one wants it to be perfect, it is always equally difficult, and there is but one way, one only. I know of only one, that is perfect sincerity, but perfect sincerity. Do you know what perfect sincerity is? Never to deceive oneself. Never let any part of your being try to find out a way of convincing the others. Never to explain favorably what one does in order to have an excuse for what one wants to do. Never to close one's eyes when something is unpleasant. Never to let anything pass, telling oneself that is not important, next time it will be better. Oh, it is very difficult. Just try for 1 hour and you will see how very difficult it is. Only 1 hour to be totally, absolutely sincere. To let nothing pass, that is all one does, all one feels, all one thinks, all one wants is exclusively the divine. A divine mother says, I want nothing but the divine. I think of nothing but the divine. I do nothing but what will lead me to the divine. I love nothing but the divine. Try. Try just to see. Try for an hour. You will see how difficult it is. And during that time, take great care that there isn't a part of the vital or a part of the mind or a part of the physical being nicely hidden there at the back, so that you don't see and our Divine Mother hides her hands behind her back and don't notice that it is not collaborating. Sitting quietly there so that you don't even unearth it. It says nothing, but it does not change. It hides itself. How many such paths hide themselves? You put them in your pocket because you don't want to see them, or else they get behind your back, sit there, well hidden in the middle of your back so as not to be seen. When you go there with your torch of sincerity, you ferret out all the corners, everywhere, all the small corners which do not consent, the things which says no, or those which do not move. I am not going to budge. I am glued to this place of mine. Nothing will make me move. You have a torch there with you. You flash it upon the thing, upon everything. You will see there are many of them there behind your back, well stuck. Third attitude, personal effort and surrender. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, a complete surrender is not possible in so a short time, for a complete surrender means to cut the knot of the ego in each part of the being and offer it free and whole to the divine. The mind, the vital, the physical consciousness have one after the other to surrender separately, to give up their own way and to accept the way of the divine. But what one can do is to make from the beginning a central resolve and self-dedication and to implement it in whatever way one finds open at each step, taking advantage of each occasion that offers itself to make the self-giving complete. A surrender in one direction makes others easier, more inevitable, but it does not of itself cut or loosen the other knots, and especially those who are very intimately bound up with the personal personality and its most cherished formations may often present great difficulties even after the central will has been fixed and the first seals put on its resolve in practice. Fourth attitude, confidence, faith, and trust. Our Divine Mother says, the best way of meeting difficulties is a quiet and calm confidence in the grace. Keep faith and confidence and remain cheerful. Be confident, you will become what you have to be and achieve what you have to do. With confidence we shall advance, with certitude we shall wait, says our Divine Mother. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, even a faltering faith and a slow and partial surrender have their force and their result. Otherwise, only the very few could do sadhana at all. What I mean by the central faith is a faith in the soul or the central being behind, a faith which is there even when the mind doubts and the vital despairs and the physical wants to collapse, and after the attack is over, reappears and pushes on the path again. It may be strong and bright, it may be pale and in appearance weak, but if it persists each time in going on, it is the real thing, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Fifth attitude, patience, perseverance, endurance, cheerfulness. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, it is certain that an ardent aspiration helps to progress, but patience is also needed, for it is a very big change that has to be made, and although there can be moments of great rapidity, it is never all the time like that. Old things try to stick as much as possible. The new that come have to develop, and the consciousness takes time to assimilate them and make them normal to nature. Our Divine Mother says, a simple act upon difficulties as the sun upon the clouds, it disperses them. Someone who knows how to smile in all circumstances is very close to the true quality of the soul. Sixth attitude, awareness and vigilance. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, only you must remain vigilant always. For when the condition is good, the lower moments have a habit of subsiding and becoming quiescent, hiding as if it were, or they go out of the nature and remain at a distance. But if they see that the sadhak is losing vigilance, then slowly begin to rise or draw near, most often unseen, and when he is quite off his guard, surge up suddenly or make a sudden eruption. This continues until the whole nature, mental, vital, physical, to the very subconscious is enlightened, conscious, full of the divine. Till that happens, one must always remain watchful in a sleepless vigilance. Seventh attitude, the witness attitude, detachment. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says there is a stage in the sadhana in which the inner being begins to awake. Often the first result is the condition made up of the following elements. First, a sort of witness attitude in which the inner consciousness looks at all that happens as a spectator or observer, observing these things but taking no active interest or pleasure in them. Second, a state of neutral equanimity in which there is neither joy nor sorrow, only quietude. Third, a sense of being something separate from all that happens, observing it but not part of it, says our Lord. Sure. Eighth attitude, rejection. Sri Aurobindo says divinization itself does not mean the destruction of human elements. It means taking them up, showing them the way to their own perfection, raising them by purification and perfection to their full power and ananda. That means the raising of the whole of earthly life to its full power and ananda. Ninth attitude, possessing nothing. Our Divine Mother says, there should be no attachment to any object or any mode of life. You must be absolutely free if you want to take the true yogic attitude. You must be able to accept everything that comes from the divine and let it go easily without regret. The attitude of the ascetic who says, I want nothing, and the attitude of the man of the world who says, I want this thing, are the same. The one may be as much attached to this renunciation as the other to his possession. 10th attitude, physical body and food. Too much eating makes the body material, heavy. Eating too little makes it weak and nervous. One has to find the true harmony and balance between the body's needs and the food taken, says Our Lord, Sri Aurobindo. 11th attitude, progress for the sake of progress. Our Divine Mother says, when you begin to advance towards inner and outer perfection, the difficulties start at the same time. I have very often heard people saying, oh, now that I'm trying to be good, everybody seems to be bad to me. But this is precisely to teach you that one should not be good with an interested motive. One should not be good so that others will be good to you. One must be good for the sake of being good. Our Divine Mother says it is always the same lesson. One must do as well as one can, the best one can, but without expecting a result, without doing it with a view to the result. Just as this attitude to expect a reward for a good action, to become good because one thinks that this will make life easier, takes away all value from the good action. Our Divine Mother says you must be good for the love of goodness, you must be just for the love of justice, you must be pure for the love of purity, and you must be disinterested for the love of disinterestedness. Then you are sure to advance on the way, says our Divine. Prayers and Meditations, March 22nd, 1914. O Lord, Divine Master of love, enlighten their consciousness and their hearts. They have made an effort to reach out towards Thee, but because of their ignorance, their prayers probably did not rise to Thee, and their false conceptions have barred the way to their aspiration. Yet in Thy mercy Thou dost turn all goodwill to account, and a flash of sincerity is enough for Thy divine light to use it to illumine the intelligence, for Thy sublime love to penetrate into all hearts and fill them with that pure and lofty benevolence, which is one of the best expressions of Thy love. What I willed for them with Thy will, in moments which I could be in true communion with Thee, grant that they may have received it on the day when, striving to forget all outer contingencies, they turn to their noblest thought, their best feelings. May the supreme serenity of Thy sublime presence awaken in them.
नदा अतिभ्रन्नजनिष्ठहीशः फलिक्लीविद्युवतयो भवन्ति Indro vidwan anuhita